My name is Koukeb, and I'm a convert to Islam for almost 24 years now. Before I was Muslim, I was baptized Greek Orthodox, and I went to a Catholic high school. So I had a lot of different religious backgrounds in there. I studied different religions. I searched for about 7 years. I had a book of questions. And then when I met the Muslims and I started asking my questions, everything just made sense. And for the first time, I got my questions answered. Who is God? Why am I here? What's the purpose of life? You know, things that were out there that nobody wanted to answer, or it said were mysteries. They couldn't explain things to me in a way that made sense. Catholic priests had talked to me about things. Other pastors and people, nothing made sense. And their attitude, the way they dealt with me, was not the same as the demeanor of the Muslim. The concept of God was very bizarre growing up. I didn't understand how 3 could equal 1. And so when I heard about Islam and they told me about all the attributes of God, this was like eye-opening. I was like, wow, I couldn't believe it. So for me, it was a matter of my mind and my heart accepting something, because my mind couldn't accept all the other things that I had looked into, and I looked into a lot of things. I was working in a place with a friend, and she had known she moved to another location in her work, and I went to visit her, and I met my future husband at that time. I met him, and we were talking, and he said, I'm starting Ramadan next month. And I said, what's Ramadan? So he said, well, I'm Muslim, and he gave me like a few things, and then he said, you know, I'm learning my religion too. Even though he was born and raised Muslim, he had started learning when he was in California. So he had some friends come over, and they came down from Canada, and I brought my book of questions, and they sat for 4 hours straight, and I drilled them question after question after question, and they were very nice. There were 2 things that attracted me. The first was the explanation about God. That made sense to me. All the other things I heard hadn't. And the second thing was they brought everything from Adam all the way through Prophet Muhammad together. That succession of prophets made sense. That God would teach us, give us one religion, and we would be taught by people who would then teach their followers. And so that made sense. And the attributes of the prophets, and that they were special and chosen, and all of those things kind of fell into place. It's almost like the puzzle pieces finally came together. So I think it was really the basic belief of Islam, the belief in God and the belief in the prophets. After the 4 hours of them sitting very politely and asking questions, and I was like drilling them, they said, do you have any more questions? So then I started learning about Islam, and within about 6 months, I embraced Islam. Very bad experiences when I started wearing my scarf. The first time I started wearing it around people I would never see again. So I went to a store and I went to buy something. And I usually pull the change out of my purse because it's tight to look for the coins. And so it's a habit. I've done it since I was little. I put the coins in my hand and I went to pay, and the woman said, that's a quarter. She spoke to me and I thought, oh my God, she thinks I don't understand. So it was just the shock. Till this day, I don't know if I ran out of the store without the item or what, but she shocked me so much. I cried in the car. I'm like, oh my God, she thinks I'm stupid. So that was my first real traumatic experience. And then I started wearing it around people that, you know, were acquaintances. I wouldn't really, you know, didn't care really what they thought.
And you wonder how far you can go. Every step on that road that you take, Allah